I stand here today not to make a grand promise, but to speak a quiet truth. Life has taught me that the most powerful things don't shout, they stay, they endure, they choose. In a world that moves fast and changes its mind often, I believe in something steady. I believe in showing up. I believe in commitment, not as a cage, but as a choice made every day with respect and courage. And that's why I'm here. Not to convince you with noise or drama, but to say something simple and real. I see a future built on trust, kindness, and patience. A future where we grow, fall, get back up, and walk forward together. You will be my wife, not because of fate alone, but because of intention, love, and the promise to stand by you no matter what. I don't believe in loud declarations or perfect timing. I believe in moments that arrive quietly and stay because they matter. I believe in the kind of certainty that doesn't rush, that doesn't demand, that doesn't perform for applause. It's the kind that sits with you, walks with you, learns your pace, and adjusts without complaint. When I say you will be my wife, I'm not trying to predict the future like it's written somewhere outside of us. I'm talking about a choice I make with my eyes open, with my history behind me, with everything I've learned about loss, patience, kindness, and the cost of staying true. I've seen what happens when people chase ideas instead of people, when they fall in love with the feeling instead of the responsibility. That's not what this is. This is about presence. This is about showing up when it's easy and when it's not. This is about choosing you in the ordinary moments, the unremarkable days, the long stretches where nothing dramatic happens except life doing what it does. I've learned that love isn't proven by intensity but by consistency. Anyone can burn bright for a moment. Anyone can speak beautifully when things are light. But the real measure is who remains steady when the room gets quiet, when doubts whisper, when the world feels heavy. I'm not offering perfection. I don't believe in it. I'm offering effort. I'm offering honesty, even when it's uncomfortable. I'm offering the willingness to listen more than I speak, to learn more than I assume, to apologize without defending my pride. When I imagine you as my wife, I'm not imagining a title or a role. I'm imagining a partnership built on mutual respect, where neither of us disappears to keep the other comfortable, where both of us grow without fear that growth will pull us apart. There's a kind of strength and gentleness that people often overlook. It takes courage to be patient, to slow down, to choose depth over speed. I want a life where conversations matter, where silence isn't awkward, where we can sit next to each other without needing to fill the space with noise. I want to know your thoughts not just when they're polished, but when they're still forming. I want to know your fears without trying to fix them immediately. Your dreams without reshaping them to fit my own. I want to be someone you can lean on without feeling smaller for it, someone who stands beside you without needing to stand in front of you. Commitment to me isn't about ownership, it's about responsibility. It's about understanding that when you choose someone, you also choose the work that comes with them. The work of understanding their past without holding it against them. The work of protecting their dignity, even when you're upset. The work of speaking truthfully without being cruel. The work of staying curious about who they are becoming because people don't stay still, and love shouldn't demand that they do. When I say you will be my wife, I'm saying I'm ready for that work. I'm saying I value the process as much as the promise. I've spent enough time paying attention to what lasts. The things that endure are rarely flashy. They're built quietly, brick by brick, decision by decision. Trust is like that. It doesn't arrive all at once. It grows when words match actions, when time proves intention. I want to earn that trust, not just ask for it. I want to be predictable in the ways that matter, reliable without becoming rigid, open without being careless. I want you to feel safe being fully yourself, not the version you think you need to be loved. There's a difference between needing someone and choosing them. Need can be urgent and loud. Choice is calm and steady. Choice says, I know who I am, and I still want to walk with you. Choice says, I'm not here to be completed, but to share a life. I don't expect you to save me, and I don't plan to save you. What I want is to build something together where we both feel stronger, clearer, more grounded, where independence and togetherness don't compete but support each other. I think about the kind of home we could create, not just a place, but a feeling. A space where respect is the default, where disagreements don't turn into battles, where we take breaks instead of breaking each other. A home where laughter comes easily, where kindness isn't rationed, where forgiveness doesn't keep score. I think about mornings that start without rush, evenings that end without resentment, and the understanding that even when days are hard, we're on the same side. I know that saying you will be my wife carries weight. It should. It's not a line, it's not a performance, it's a commitment that asks something of me every day. It asks me to be present when I'd rather escape, to be patient when I'm tired, to be brave when it's easier to shut down. It asks me to keep choosing communication over silence, understanding over assumption, compassion over ego. It asks me to keep growing, because stagnation is one of the quiet ways love fades. I don't want a love that feels like a constant test. I want one that feels like a steady ground you can stand on. That doesn't mean it will be easy. It means it will be honest. It means we'll face things as they are, not as we wish they were. It means we'll learn each other's rhythms, respect each other's boundaries, and protect what we build, from the small neglects that slowly erode even the strongest foundations. When I imagine calling you my wife, I imagine shared responsibility, shared joy, shared silence. I imagine making decisions with you, not for you. I imagine celebrating your wins without envy, supporting you through setbacks without impatience. I imagine being proud not just of what we achieve, but of how we treat each other along the way. I imagine a life where love isn't something we talk about often because it's something we practice constantly. Time has taught me that the most meaningful promises aren't the ones spoken once, but the ones lived daily. I don't need grand gestures to prove what matters. I need alignment between what I say and what I do. I need to wake up and choose the same direction again, even when the road changes. That's what this is about. Direction, intention, the quiet confidence that comes from knowing you're building something real. I respect the fact that two people don't merge into one. They remain two, choosing to walk together. That choice deserves care. It deserves patience. It deserves the humility to admit when you're wrong and the courage to stand firm when it matters. I want to be someone who protects that balance, who understands that love grows best where there is freedom and trust, not control or fear. You will be my wife is not a demand placed on the future. It's a statement about how I see you, how I value you, and how seriously I take the idea of building a life with someone. It's about choosing depth over convenience, commitment over comfort, and meaning over impulse. It's about believing that what we build together can be strong enough to hold both our strengths and our flaws. I'm here for the long view, for the seasons that change us, for the years that teach us, for the moments when love feels effortless and the moments when it requires intention. I'm here to learn you, to keep learning you, because people are not puzzles to be solved once, but stories that keep unfolding. I want to stay interested. I want to stay engaged. I want to stay kind. This isn't about certainty without effort. It's about effort with purpose. It's about understanding that choosing someone means choosing the responsibility to care, to listen, to show up, even when no one is watching. It means protecting what we build not because it's perfect, but because it's ours. It means believing that a life shared with respect and patience is worth the work it asks of us. And when I say you will be my wife, I'm saying I'm ready to walk at your pace, to meet you where you are, to grow alongside you without rushing the process, to let trust deepen naturally, to let love become something lived rather than declared, to keep choosing the work, the presence, the patience, and the responsibility that turn intention into reality and the life we build into something steady enough to stand on, quiet enough to breathe in, strong enough to carry us forward, shaped by the choices we make every day, the way we speak to each other, the way we listen, the way we stay, and the work we choose every day. I think about growth not as a straight line, but as something organic, shaped by weather, by time, by pressure. People don't grow the same way at the same speed, and they shouldn't have to. A shared life isn't about synchronizing every step, it's about learning how to walk without forcing the other person to match your stride. When I imagine you as my wife, I imagine a partnership where patience isn't an afterthought but the foundation, where respect isn't conditional on agreement, where growth is welcomed, even when it's uncomfortable, even when it changes the shape of what we thought we knew. I don't want a love that freezes us in one version of ourselves. I want one that allows movement, that understands becoming is lifelong. Respect to me is shown in the smallest choices, in how we speak when we're tired, in how we listen when we're distracted, in how we disagree without trying to win. It's easy to be respectful when everything aligns. It's harder and more meaningful when it doesn't. I want to build a life where respect is so consistent it becomes instinct, where we protect each other's dignity even in private moments, especially then. where sarcasm doesn't replace honesty and silence isn't used as a weapon, where words are chosen carefully, not to impress, but to preserve trust. There's a quiet strength in taking responsibility for your own growth instead of asking someone else to carry it for you. I don't want to lean on you in ways that make you smaller. I want to stand strong enough that when we support each other, it's a choice, not a necessity born of imbalance. A marriage to me isn't about filling gaps out of fear. It's about two people who know their own weight and still choose to share the load. I want us to challenge each other gently, to encourage without pushing, to inspire without pressure. Patience isn't passive, it's active restraint. It's choosing understanding over reaction. It's giving space without withdrawing love. I want to be patient with your process, with your timing, with the way you move through the world. I want you to feel no urgency to become anything other than who you are, knowing that growth happens best when it's safe. And I want that patience returned not as obligation, but as mutual care, a shared rhythm that allows us both to breathe. I think a lot about how people change when they feel truly respected. They soften, they open, they take risks. I want to be someone who makes you feel safe enough to be honest, even when the truth is messy, even when it's still forming. I don't want perfection from you. I want authenticity. I want the real reactions, the unpolished thoughts, the questions you're still figuring out. I want to build a relationship where honesty isn't punished, where vulnerability is met with steadiness, not judgment. Shared growth also means knowing when to step back, knowing when support looks like presence and when it looks like silence. Knowing that love doesn't always mean advice. Sometimes it means trust. I want to trust your judgment, your instincts, your ability to navigate your own path. I want to be there not as a guide who dictates direction, but as a companion who walks alongside, someone who believes in you without needing to manage you. A life together is shaped by countless decisions that never make it into stories. The way we handle stress, the way we recover from misunderstandings, the way we show appreciation when nothing big is happening. I want those ordinary moments to be handled with care. I want gratitude to be expressed before it turns into expectation. I want effort to be noticed, not assumed. These things don't happen automatically. They're choices. Repeated choices that slowly turn into culture, into the unspoken rules of how we treat each other. I don't see marriage as an endpoint. I see it as a framework that supports continued growth, a structure strong enough to hold change without breaking. When I say you will be my wife, I'm saying I'm willing to keep learning how to be a better partner, not because I fear losing you, but because I respect what we're building. Growth requires humility. It requires admitting that you don't have it all figured out, that you're willing to be wrong, that you're open to feedback without becoming defensive. There will be moments when we misunderstand each other. That's inevitable. What matters is how we respond to those moments. Do we retreat into pride, or do we move toward clarity? Do we assume intent, or do we ask questions? I want to choose curiosity over accusation. I want to slow things down instead of escalating them. I want to remember that disagreement doesn't mean disconnection, and that working through tension together can deepen trust rather than erode it. Shared growth also means celebrating each other without comparison. Your success doesn't diminish me. My growth doesn't threaten you. I want us to be genuinely happy for each other's progress, even when it happens at different times, in different ways. I want us to be each other's quiet confidence, the place we return to when the outside world feels loud or demanding, a place where we don't have to prove anything. I value consistency more than intensity. Intensity fades if it isn't grounded. Consistency builds something you can rely on. I want our life to be marked by steady care, not dramatic swings. I want to be someone whose presence calms rather than unsettles, someone you can depend on without question. That kind of reliability doesn't come from promises alone. It comes from habits, from showing up the same way again and again, especially when it's inconvenient. Respecting growth also means respecting boundaries, knowing when to step in and when to step away, understanding that love doesn't give you unlimited access to another person's inner world on demand. I want to honor your need for space without interpreting it as distance. I want you to honor mine without seeing it as withdrawal. The balance is delicate, but it's essential. It allows individuality to exist alongside intimacy. I think about time a lot, how quickly it passes, how easily it's wasted. I want to spend it intentionally, not perfectly, but consciously. I want to build routines that support us, not trap us. Traditions that mean something because we choose them, not because they're expected. A shared life that feels personal, not borrowed from someone else's idea of what it should look like. When I imagine growing old with someone, I don't imagine constant excitement. I imagine familiarity that feels warm, not stale. I imagine inside jokes, shared memories, a deep understanding that doesn't need explanation. That kind of connection is built slowly, through attention, through listening, through being present even when nothing special is happening. I want to invest in that kind of future, knowing it's shaped by what we do now. I believe respect is also shown in how we talk about each other when the other isn't present, in how we protect each other's reputation, how we keep private things private. Trust depends on that. I want you to know that your vulnerability with me is safe, that it won't be used for leverage or entertainment, that what we share stays within the space we build together. Shared growth requires adaptability. Life doesn't stay still. Priorities shift. Circumstances change. I want to be flexible without losing my core. I want us to adjust together instead of pulling in opposite directions, to revisit agreements when they no longer fit, to recognize when something needs to change and address it before resentment takes root. I don't want to rush milestones for the sake of appearances. I want timing to come from readiness, not pressure. Growth isn't something you force, it's something you support. I want to support your ambitions without redefining them.